Hello and welcome into MFL with Laird. I am Andrew Laird. I was going to say you can find me as Lairdinho, but I can't. And I know that because joining me today is the famous SRMonkey, who's famous all over all of these games that I play. But David, you were the first one who, when I joined, you were like, I can't find you anywhere. And you were like, wait, you didn't sign up as Lairdinho. And
yeah, it did
ever
confuse
since
me.
you said that, I was like, man, did I blow it? Should I have done that? Anyway, welcome. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, I've been trying to get on one of your streams for about best part of 4 years, and finally we did it. Yeah.
So we were just talking very briefly that we've kind of internet known each other for like a very, very long time. And what are the odds that we finally sit down here and it's about a football management game that has absolutely nothing to do with fantasy sports?
Yeah, I mean, it started out. I was listening to your DraftKings content with Jordan Cooper about DFS stuff. Then obviously it was RotoWire with Andrew and Pierce. You as a guest on there occasionally for Sorare, and then finally we landed. Finally, I landed on here.
In fairness, I did a Sorare ramble. I haven't done an MFL ramble, mostly because I barely started playing MFL, but not the first time, but I believe it is the first time on my channel. So thank you for coming, and thank you to everybody for checking in. We got Fraxy, T-Man, and Rascal Misaki on the podium. Congratulations, you three. Appreciate everybody coming in. Sean, Ricky, Bailey, Kev Hurd. Look at that, coming in to say hi. Jimbo. I have so much to say about Jimbo. I don't know if we'll talk about it today, but
we love Jimbo. Well, I love it. I'm sure you do as well.
I certainly do. Everybody should. Tazai, what's up? Simo, Massive Erickson, Nixon. Let's see. Signed up a few days ago and already spent $300. I am definitely responsible and to be trusted. And to be trusted with adult money.
I mean, that sums most of us up, doesn't it? Really,
for real, right? Simo's calling you out on the Sorare hoodie on the MFL stream. Is there MFL like swag yet?
Not that I know about. And if you're watching, Matt, Lucas, any of you, then when MFL hoodies,
when merch, when swag, that probably sounds better.
Maybe for the get together in Paris in July. But
that's right. I wish I could reasonably get there.
Yeah, it's not really a quick hop on the Euros tunnel for you, is it?
It's not.
Massive plan.
There's certainly a way where that could be part of my journey, although I don't think it's going to get there. But anyway, here to talk about MFL, and I'm sure you've talked about it because how many Ramble episodes are you guys up to at this point?
18.
18, man.
Which feels a lot, considering I only joined in November, I think. It was before I went on holiday to Dubai, and that was like that was right at the end of November. So it would have been at some point in November, whenever season 1 started. Mm-hmm. And I was late entering in season 1.
So I remember when you started the Ramble, like the MFL Ramble, and obviously that was it's not like you started the MFL Ramble the day you started MFL. Like, what brought you to MFL first? And then obviously something happened where you're like, I really want to talk about this more often. But like, what brought you to MFL?
I'd been looking for another game to get into for a while, and it was the choice at the time was between Footium and MFL. And I sort of went on Footium, and I'm not really a crypto bro, although I have got into it a lot more over the last couple of months. But, I just thought MFL looks interesting. So I, messaged on the Ramble Discord, and Hoodwink and Smoggy and a couple of other people said, oh, we play it. We literally talk about it every day, just DMs one-to-one. I said, well, okay, sorry, I'll have a look. Signed up. Oh, no, I spoke to Matt first, actually. Really enjoyed speaking to Matt. I thought he was a really intelligent guy, right from the off. He was talking about game economics as being sort of a priority. And a lot of people talk about that, but I think we can see it with the pack drops that they're really careful about not over minting cards and trying to make sure prices are stable. And then I thought, sod it, I'll do it. So I actually went in and bought my first club. We did get a free club as well, but we did that as like a community team. But I bought my first one and I was hooked literally from that moment.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people like Pranksy, I think you've mentioned it as well, like that first unveiling, like just the music and everything, it's just so immersive that it hooks you right from the start.
Totally.
that like the onboarding is second to none for any game I've played. It's just, yes, it's a little bit, once you get into the nitty gritty, like in terms of buying players, it can be a bit more like, how does all this work? But in terms of like getting your feet on the ground in the game, they've nailed it. I think anyway. But
it's funny you say that because
the ramble happened about a week and a half later.
Well, it is. I don't know. Maybe it's like once you start doing content on anything, and then you get into something new, you're just kind of like, oh, I want to talk about this and share that experience with other people. And I feel like that's basically what content really is. It's just sharing your experience, and other people who are going through it kind of, it helps you along the way. But I will say that the onboarding into MFL might be the easiest onboarding of any game I've ever played. And it's
especially a blockchain game, like even normal games, but for blockchain games, historically they're just tough to get your teeth around, with wallets and everything. But because of the integration with Dapper, which has its own issues as well.
Yeah.
But I think because of that integration, it just makes it so much easier. Like you don't need to deal with crypto. Everything can be done in dollars.
Yeah. That's sort of what got me so interested right away, at least, was just it feels like they are using blockchain technology in a way that people want to use blockchain technology in 2025. They don't want to have to worry about wallets. And I feel like the biggest thing with having to deal with crypto wallets is this immense fear that if you do one thing wrong, you will lose all of your money immediately. It was like, and I just never felt like there was any sort of that risk.
I think no matter how experienced you are, when you're doing a wallet to wallet transfer on the blockchain, you feel nervous.
Yeah.
Even if you're like 99.999% sure you've put the right wallet in, you've put everything in, you still like anxiously wait those few minutes or half an hour for the money to appear in a wallet. So yeah.
Certainly. So when you joined, ICE was the bottom division. Did you jump in right on into ICE, or did you move up? Did you start up higher because you were like, oh, I'm just going to go for it?
At the time, the prize pool distribution was slightly higher, so the amount you could earn for winning ICE was actually not that much lower than for Stone. So I decided right at the start to jump into ICE and immediately started buying players, and people get to them telling me, oh, you need these kind of players. So I ended up probably overbuying, and that continued right from the start. And I think I went unbeaten that first seaon. But yeah, no, right.
Did you get anything extra for that?
No.
Sorry.
Oh, I hope he's not watching. Poor lad. He should have just apologized. He's like doubled down, didn't he? Like anyway.
No judgment here.
Yeah, I went unbeaten that season. And I've done that a couple of times. But if I started now with the same budget, I probably wouldn't start in Spark. I'd probably buy a team, it depends on your budget, either in ICE or Stone. I think like it's only when you get to Iron really that it starts to get a lot more competitive, I think. Mm-hmm. And you do start to need players like tactics and sort of rotation and all those things used to be able to get you through in ICE and to an extent Stone. And I'm pretty sure Spark will be the same as well. It's going to be so interesting. I've got one Spark team now, and because of I recorded the MFL ramble with Nep yesterday. Was it yesterday? Losing track of time. Whenever it was this week, and he was, oh no, you should buy another ICE team. So now I have 4 teams. Thanks, Nep.
Speaking to Nep about MFL is extremely dangerous. I feel like if anybody has like a single conversation with him, they'd be like, maybe I do need 15 clubs.
Yeah. What he says just makes sense.
Right. T-Man said some of these Spark teams are looking like Iron teams. Yeah, I feel like I hate to be that guy that says, I don't think MFL has seen something like this, because I'm not even a month in. Maybe I am. But like, I haven't played a season yet, but the number of people who are joining the game now, and I feel like there's a good number of people who look at the promotion ladder, like, what do I have to do to get up? And they're basically building teams. I want to get to Iron in 3 seasons. let me build my iron team now, play that in Spark, play that in Ice, play that in Stone, and just like move the way.
I mean, that's pretty much what I did. I thought, like, to start off with, I don't know whether it's worth doing that for Spark, but people will do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend running rares and stuff like that in Spark. You know, it just feels a bit absurd. I know Pranksy will, because I think he's got 2 Spark teams now, and I don't think he'll buy another one. So I think he'll do it first season. I've bought an Ice team now, so my Spark team will be a lot lower. And when I say a lot lower, it will be between sort of 64 and 70.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't really got any players lower than that. So
people keep asking. I feel like it also feels like I'm in 17 MFL discords, or not MFL Discord, but just Discord. So it's hard for me to even remember like where I see certain things. But a lot of the questions are like, what's the average that I should be looking for in Spark? Or what do we think the average in Spark is going to be? And I was like, the top of Spark and the bottom of Spark could have like a 30-point difference.
Easily, yeah. I mean, it did in Ice last season, so I'm sure it will this season.
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting that, I don't know, because we've had so many teams onboarding, like there's 1,500 new teams at the moment in Spark that are registered, that will be like able to be registered, that have been created. I'm sure there's others where people still haven't created the team to put the players in.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we get up to like 1,750. That is a lot of leagues that are going to be created, because it's divided by 12. So it's over 100 leagues that are going to be in there. I'm pretty sure some of them you might be able to win with 60 average, but then you might get really unlucky and have a 65 average team yourself and get stuck in with 2 people that have got 70 average teams. So it's just literally going to be the luck of the draw, I think, this first season. But
yeah, in fairness, like 900 of those teams are just NEP, and he said he wasn't going to enter them all. So it's not. When did you, like, how quickly did you get your second club?
Second season.
Okay, so you waited a full season to do it.
Yeah, I think probably because I expected there to be an offer, because it was around Christmas. And they did a slightly better offer, I think, for Christmas. It was like a starter pack, but just increased chances of getting sort of high tier cards. I got still 2 commons, but no, they haven't switched on the content creators look yet for us. Maybe for people that watch us, but
I've got a couple packs to open at some point, and I think I'm going to buy another club with a starter pack. So surely the content creators were just waiting for me to do that to turn it on.
Because one of the guys that you referred, pulled a legendary, didn't they, from their starter pack?
Sure did. Yeah. 92 rated, 22-year-old left back. That's I remember that more than anything about my own players.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And the last guy I referred, I think like 4 days ago, I think it's Shaka Boom or something like that. He ripped open a limited pack from the pack drop last night and pulled a 90 legendary.
That's incredible.
I know, mind blowing. He hadn't even got a team ready to go. Like he didn't know what to do with that. I mean, he listed it at 1,000 and then like took it down immediately. It's like, I don't know whether that's the right price or not.
So coming from Sorare, where we presumably know what our cards are worth or how much we can sell it for, is there anything to learn from MFL in terms of how to price things? Like, I feel like we obviously have, MFL assistant or MFL player that like kind of gives us a range, but do you sell players much?
Not really, no. I'm sort of in my mind, I want to get to sort of like 250 cards, and then, I've got a nice pool of cards that I can put in the dev center. I've got some, maybe 100 I can loan out. The rest I can use in my teams and sort of build MFL sort of multiple ways. So, progression, promotion, and all the different sort of facets. In terms of valuing the cards, it is really difficult. And I guess like Sorare, your card's worth what someone's willing to pay. So, if you want to list a card, you think, and Sorare, MFL assistant is telling you one price, list it higher. Don't list it at that price, and if no one buys it after a day or two, then lower it. But yeah, it's so careful. You have to be so careful, because if like an overall card of 70, might go for a lot, but if it's got really low stats, people may not buy it. So, you know, that sometimes the stats on a card don't actually correlate to the overall, and sort of, you know, so I think a lot of people have cottoned on now that building teams with stats in mind rather than overalls is probably the way to go. But
yeah, that's something I'm still very much learning. And I haven't tried to sell a card. I think there's a decent chance I just never sell one, and I just keep trying to loan. And the whole loaning concept, I think, is brilliant. And it's obviously, we used to do that in Sorare way back when we was kind of, I don't want to say it was allowed, but it was not frowned upon, I guess. But the whole concept of, you know, you can buy a club, loan in all your players, and just play is great. Like we always said, you know, for years that there's no, like, there were plenty of ways that you can play Sorare. The number of ways that you can play MFL, and it was actually something that Jimbo said, I think it was in the Wendercast with Zudert, where he was like, just there's no wrong way to play. Find the way that you have the most fun playing and play that. And as long as you're having fun, like, it's great. And I can't emphasize that point enough, that if you're not having fun playing the game, there may be just a different way to play the game that becomes fun to you. And it seems like the fun for you is moving up, winning leagues, which you've done quite a few times. Do you find that not that your priority is going to be like, I don't want to win anymore, but do you find that, you know, as we were kind of talking in DMs, like the player progression versus winning trophies, it feels like you kind of admitted you bought some like overpowered teams at the beginning. Do you find that with more people talking about player progression that you want to move more, like, it doesn't seem like you're 50-50 between the two, and winning trophies is maybe 75-25 or something like that?
I think I've probably leaned more towards progression. Like, the problem I had, especially with my main team, is that because I kept on buying cards, and those cards kept on getting progression, even if they were in sort of, you know, not ideal spots, they was still rising up. So it got to the point where for most matches Monkey Magic were playing, I actually wasn't getting any match XP. And even when I was in Iron, I remember people were running their reserves against me, and I was like infuriated. I was like, no, don't do that, because I won't get any match XP. I may win. And it got to the point where I was actually wanting match XP. So I think in my mind now I've reached sort of bronze with Monkey Magic, and I don't know what the limit is for them. Maybe silver, maybe gold if I get a bit of progression. But I am starting to get sort of like the right XP. They're in the correct division now. And although I didn't win the league, I lost it on the final day. Thank you very much, Jimbo.
Jimbo, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's one reason not to like Jimbo, that was it, probably.
But yeah, I still got a lot of satisfaction from that season. I realised maybe I don't need to win a league to enjoy the game, because in my mind at the start I was like, oh, I have to win to enjoy the game. Yeah. And so last season probably has taught me that you don't need to win the league to enjoy the game. And one of the things I've loved right from the start is every morning I wake up, go and make my cup of tea, sit down, open my phone, or go and sit at the desktop and have a look at progression. And honestly, when it's not on, it's like heartbreaking, especially as MFL assistant keeps sending through emails saying, oh, check your player progression. I was like, there's no games. I know there's no progression, but sometimes I still go and check it.
So you have a fairly large MFL community in the Ramble Discord, and people who, you know, are either coming from Sorare or coming from other games or just finding the Ramble. Is there like a more consistent set of questions that you see newer people asking?
I mean, they'll post their teams a lot of the time and say, how will this do? And then they'll get, you know, different responses from different people. Someone will say, like, they'll post, I saw someone, I can't remember who it is, they posted a Spark team last night, and it was mainly 40 and 50 rated players. And someone said, oh, that'll be mid-table. I looked at it, I thought, no, there's no way that's mid-table. That's sort of lower, you know, you might get lucky and be lower middle, but there's no way that's mid-table. And I just think that people that start the game and enjoy the game will sort of like, will buy players right at the start, and they'll keep strengthening. So it's going to be quite difficult. But that's one of the main questions. As you said, I think a few minutes ago, it's like, what average do you think Spark will have? What overall average should I be aiming for? I'd be interested to see what you tell people, because I tell people like for Spark 65 average.
I think 65 is probably where you should be if you're trying to win. Like if you're trying to win the league. I think we'll see a couple that are higher than that. And
definitely. I mean, I was building one of my squads when my original Spark squad when I was watching Pranksy's stream, and I ended up with like a team of all 70 rated players. And I was like, I showed the guys afterwards, and they were like, "What are you doing? Just play them in ice." And that's why I ended up buying an ice license. But it just felt a waste. So as long as I don't get stuck in Pranksy's league, I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. Although, I mean, theoretically, if you get stuck in one of these leagues where, 2 or 3 people have these 70 average teams, it's only one season and they're gone.
Yeah,
and so,
exactly.
they'll move out. But
it's not a massive difference.
You're stuck in the same pyramid for a while.
Yeah. And you're unlikely to be in the same cup with them as well. So obviously the Aspirants Cup will get drawn. I think it's like a week into the season or a few days into the season. Oh, it's when the transfer window closes and all teams are locked. Then they do the draw for the Aspirants Cup and release the tables and stuff like that. And that's quite fun. It's quite fun, like opening day, because you're about to, like when the leagues are drawn, because you're about to see you've got a new league. You're about to see, I can't remember who the guy is. The guy that does the predictions for all the leagues based on the overalls. That's really
the one site I never look at because I haven't been in a league yet.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it now. So I'll just have a quick look. I'm sure everybody knows. MFL Manager. And then within that, he has the projections within that. That's quite fun. There's loads of sort of elements of fun. The transfer deadline obviously is, always quite chaotic. I've normally done all my business by then, but you can guarantee people will still be looking for players right up to the deadline. But yeah, there's just so much. And then the cup starts, then you have double game days, and then the chaos starts, and it doesn't stop basically for a month. But
Noisy Steve MFL here said, I use season 4 as a taster for MFL. Starting season 5, I already have 2 teams and nearly 50 players. Hooked is an understatement. And then T-Man, I started 2 weeks ago, got an ice and a spark club. Whoever said they can't be trusted with adult money, you're not the only one. Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Spark is I just feel like it's going to be, like we said before, the gap is going to be huge, because I was saying in my own Discord today, like I have a bunch of players that are sub 50, and some of them are older. And so it's like, I don't want to send a 28-year-old to the dev center for 4 years. It just doesn't seem worth it. So it's like, maybe I should just get a Spark Club, train these guys on my own, but it will literally be a 46 average team. And it's like, I'm not going to do anything with that. Meaning that's not going to compete for anything, but that is going to be in somebody's Spark League. And so I wonder how many.
It's interesting because start of last season, we were like, you would either list those guys for £1 and they definitely wouldn't sell. Like nobody would buy them before Nep obviously went on his $1 mission. Or you'd list them for like 0.1%.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might get lucky and someone would take it just as like a rotation piece. But now those cards have value.
Yeah. They probably have more value selling them than playing them I mean, again, what are you going to get league-wise from a team of 46 average players?
Yeah, we need someone like M-Pen to join to tell us the data, tell us the math. Should you be selling those guys for $3, or should you be farming the MFL from them to buy packs in the future? But I need the math.
Yeah, exactly. Where do you fall in the ROI discussion?
I've only ever looked once at my gallery valuation, and it never even occurred to me to work out what it was. And I only did it because they put it up on one of the features on MFL Assistant. It was in there, and I thought, oh, that's fun. I know how much money I've put into the game, and it's considerably lower than that. But I don't know. Like, it doesn't really sort of ever occur to me. Now, I think down the line, once the game matures, people might start to think about those sort of things a bit more and might think, actually, this is, I'm just losing money every sort of season playing this. So, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess in their back pocket, Matt and the team have options for what they could do down the line to sort of inject money into the economy. I don't know whether they'd ever do that, but, there are options to sort of change the ecosystem a little bit. But I think as it is at the moment, it works. So it works for me. And more than anything, I enjoy the game. And I think that's probably the most important thing. But
I think you said it perfectly. And it's sort of the way that I'm looking at it. I have almost zero consideration of like what I'm going to take out of the game. I guess I'll put it that way. That I look at it as kind of a one-way street on my money. It's going in and I will just never see it again. And I'll be fine with that because I'm having loads of fun. And I don't know, there was a comment, I can't remember if it was in the main MFL Discord today, but somebody was basically saying how they put a bunch of money in a couple years ago or a couple seasons ago, and they're not winning, and they were just kind of like, is this a game where I'm going to have to put in $500 every single season just to be competitive? And it felt like the response to a lot of people was like, no, like that's not at all what this game is like, which is funny because it's almost exactly what Sorare is now. And yet, I don't know, it feels like I do get some questions about like, oh, how much can you make? And, if I do this, can I make my money back? And I just don't feel, I'm not comfortable answering the question, hashtag not financial advice, but it's mostly because I don't look at the game that way. And I don't, there's been so little thought like how much can I make playing this game? And it's more just like, I'm just having a lot of fun playing the game, and that's what I'm doing.
I think that, I know some people in my Discord that joined around season 1 are now in profit from sort of buying players, some of those having progression, selling them, loaning them out. Not in profit, but they have money in their account and they've covered their, initial investment. So yes, it is possible. But as you said, I've never really looked at it in that way. I never bought Football Manager as a game, or I'm assuming there's American versions of this, like management games, sports management games, with the idea that I can make money from Football Manager. I can make money. And this is the same way. You have your entry point and, you buy your team, $70, is it? Or whatever the price is, $80. And, that's your entry fee. Now, you don't need to spend another penny. You don't have to. You can loan in players. I've noticed this season it is incredibly hard work. Like I've been listing guys for loan and they've been going within sort of a few minutes. So the next time I list them a little bit higher and they still go. So, I've tried to help as many people as I said I would, but, it is so tough, the loan market, that people will need to buy players to sort of, perhaps underpin their sort of journey. And maybe they start small. You can buy $1. Well, I don't know whether you can buy $1, but maybe $3 players, but, and play the game that way. But I still think for $100, you can get started, play a season, maybe get some progression. Maybe one of the players you get lucky and it sort of, becomes an uncommon. Players can get, plus 12, plus 15 sort of progression in one season. I've not seen it myself, but I'm trying to think the most I've had in one season. I think it may be plus 6 or plus 7, but which is probably not bad considering a lot of my players have been in sort of like the wrong environment.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point. Quick thing here. Jack Dan was asking, this is a new channel dedicated to MFL. Yes, it is, Jack. MFL with Laird. So if anybody who's watching this, please subscribe to the channel because I got a bunch of videos coming out, including this live stream. And I think I have at least 1, if not 4, coming out later today. Because, man, I just have a lot going on.
I quite like your little ones that you've been putting out, sort of the little bite-sized ones. Yeah, you've made them a little bit longer recently as well, which is good. So if I go to put a comment in, it doesn't roll over to the next person.
No, yeah, the one yesterday I think was the longest, or whenever I did it was the longest one, and I finished it and I was like, man, I could have spoken for an hour on this. And
but the thoughts that you have on them are the thoughts that I'm sure hundreds of new managers are having exactly the same sort of thoughts about what to do.
Yeah, that's all it is. And what's really nice is because there's so many people who play the game differently, it kind of allows me to get a different perspective of, oh, this is what I was thinking. And someone's like, well, what if you did this? Because like that's how they play. And that's like, oh my gosh. So I feel like every time I'm close to a decision, that's when I do the video. And then I see the comments and I'm like, I'm not remotely close to actually making a decision now. Or I end up making the total different one than when I thought I was going to make by the end of the video.
Well, that was going to be my question for you. Have you decided? Are you going to loan the players out? I think you've got an offer on the table from Trust the Process. You've obviously got a million different routes you could go, but have you decided yet?
So I made the decision significantly tougher on myself. We basically had an agreement, close enough to an agreement. And then when I did that video and I was like, I definitely want to do the loans. And within one more conversation with Jonathan, who's super nice and I can tell is doing something that he doesn't normally do. Like tends not to like try to loan a bunch of players out, but was willing to do it. But the more I talked to him, I was like, man, I think actually just a swap, like a player swap makes the most sense. And then I started, so he was like, find some players you like, I'll analyze it and see if I want to do it. And while he did that, I was like, but I have the pack drop coming up and I got some packs yesterday. And now it's like, depending on what I get in the packs may reduce what I need from him. And it was just like, so the answer is no, I haven't decided because I keep adding something to the equation that like complicates the decision. But I've put a deadline on myself by tomorrow that I will figure out what I'm doing.
And did you have any joy with the packs last night?
I haven't opened them yet.
Ooh.
I haven't
doing a separate video for that, or
I'm going to do a separate video for that.
Yeah.
But it might come out today because I think I can't wait much longer. Like thankfully I'm running out of time.
Which packs did you get?
I got so I was tilting my face off last night because I was trying to get a standard pack and 3 limited packs, and which I know is very ambitious given these pack drops. And so I had my tabs open and then I went to buy it and I got like some sort of dapper identity check, which I didn't get on the last pack drop. And I was like, why now? Why now? And I'm guessing all of the Disney stuff, not that I have like a ton of these Disney credits, but I happen to have them. And then, so I took like a screenshot of the 2 because it said they were reserved, but I finally went through the dapper stuff within the 10 minutes and then it wouldn't let me buy it. Somebody I can't remember if I think it was in the Wendirk Discord. I kind of like posted that I didn't get it because of this. And they're like, oh, just submit a ticket. Like they might be able to help. So I submitted a ticket. And while it was like in the MFL, like support chat, Lucas was there. Thank you very much, Lucas. And as I did it, I like refreshed and then it let me buy them. And I was like, okay, never mind. I only ended up getting 1 limited pack and 1 standard pack, but I'm fairly certain I'm going to get another club, which thanks to the promo right now will include a starter pack as well. And so I think I have the club and then 3 packs to open.
Of course, you bought your second team, didn't you, before the promotion started? So yeah. Wow, 3 teams, first season, ballsy.
MFL gave me a club and I had like committed to buying one anyway. So that's when I would like bought the other one, which came with a starter pack. Actually, did it? No, it definitely didn't. I was able to buy the starter packs, the 3 starter packs. And then the only reason why I've been thinking about this third club is thanks to like all the referrals that I've gotten. Thank you to everybody for using my referral link. I just have a lot of I have 47 players and that's more than 2 teams realistically. I mean, I could put them in 2 teams, but I'm like 3 teams sounds more fun than 2 teams.
And the number of players you've got is going to go up over time anyway. So
right. Yeah. Like I have based on, because I joined basically in the middle of season 4. So I played the Redemption Cup, got absolutely blasted. Won my first game, thought I was the greatest MFL manager ever, and then got absolutely blasted because the transfer window was still open. The other 3 teams in my group vastly improved, and I didn't touch my team. And then I got killed. But based on some of the cards I got, the loans, like I have like 4,800 MFL, which is like enough to get a couple packs, like the, some of the, but I don't know if I'm going to use them or not. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't even remember what the question was there.
No, I was asking about the packs, and I think, I managed to get a rare, a standard, and then one limited, and then it took so long to buy that first limited, and I could see the number of like packs remaining going down that I managed to get 1, but I couldn't get 3, and then I couldn't get the kickoff packs. But my pack luck was awful.
So the funny thing about this is that where I'm actually playing, like I'll have 3 Spark teams, is buying a standard pack makes no sense for like what I want to do with those teams. But I bought a standard pack last time and I was like, it's just more fun to get the better players. And so I got the standard pack, but getting 3 limited packs surely made more sense just from a player standpoint of what I'm trying to do with my teams, which is why I was trying to do 3 and 1. But I mean, I'm way too.
You're like uncommon. I mean, you'll get 1 uncommon. I mean, you may get upgrades and stuff like that, but if you get 1 uncommon, then it could be 65.
Right.
And then it's sort of like potentially you could use it within the team, and if it's higher, then it's another one to loan out, isn't it? There'll be plenty of people wanting it, and it gives you a bit more MFL at the end of the season.
Yeah, that was one of the strategies, I guess, that I could call it, of that I was considering, was maybe like, I don't know if I'm actually going to be good at this game. Like I never really played Football Manager. And so it's not like I even have a base of what I'm doing. Tactics are they're not foreign to me, but just not things I ever considered in a game before. And so my thought was like, maybe I'm actually going to be very bad at this game in terms of like winning matches. And so if I have a lot of, higher tier players, if I just loan them out and let other people win with my players, I can win MFL that way. And then I'll just stay in Spark in the hoping not to be in the, future relegation zone, and just do that. And I feel like there's for me, I loaned out my top player, Stuart Freeman, to a team called Allcocks, which had enough fun in the name itself, but they won their Iron League last year. And so they moved up, and I loaned him back there for this season. And I was like, that's another team that like I can support. I want them to do well, because the better they do, the more MFL that I'll get. And I kind of like this idea of, if I'm not that good at the game, now granted, maybe I'm amazing at it. Maybe we'll find out that I'm actually the greatest MFL manager ever. But the odds are very, very low that that's the case. So if I do get some of these higher rated players, maybe I'll give them to people who are actually good at the game. And I'll just focus my Spark teams on, I have one that I think should be competitive this year. I'm trying to basically get an average, every player between 60 and 65. And if that one can compete, and then I have the other 2 that I can just like focus on essentially optimizing progression, maybe that's the way I'll play.
I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And I think the beauty of this game is that you can play it, several ways. Like one of the things you said there is like it gives you another team to support. And what I found is, after I think 1 second season, I just sent my guys out and loan everywhere. But that meant that I had to watch them. I'd have to watch 100 games. So then I think start of last season, I decided I'm going to send 7 guys on loan to maybe 5 teams, and those teams then I can really closely follow. And fortunately, I think 2 out of the 4 or 5 that I think got promoted and won their leagues, and another one got promoted, and it was just really enjoyable that way, sort of having a few guys sent out to the same team. Mm-hmm. But I think you'll gather as it gets bigger, you might sort of find that's a good way to go, because it gives you, you know, rather than like tuning in and watching loads of games, then you can watch a few games and sort of catch loads of your players. But yeah, it is fun. I think with 3 teams, you'll probably have sort of that first season quite that happy medium, you know, that you'll have enough games to watch. Because what I found first season is I had my game, I watched loads of other people's games, but I really wanted another game for myself. And you won't have that problem first. You mean 2 of your teams will probably be quite weak first season.
Yep.
You know, and then next season, if one gets promoted to ice, maybe you make a decision to go a bit stronger next season. You know, and I think that's part of the beauty of the game. I think that when I first started, having one tactic and then having a backup 11 that matched that was just too easy. That was the way to go, and it worked as well. If you got a good formation.
Yeah.
Like from last season onwards, it feels like a lot more tactics work better against certain tactics. Now, going into the season, we don't know what they are. I've done loads of testing and I still don't know what they are. So, you know, I think everybody's in the same boat at the start of this season. And, you know, just having tactical flexibility, I think, is the key. Being able to run, like, if you can run a 4-2-3-1 or something, whatever the formation is, then being able to run 4-4-2 as well. And then being able to run, you know, just having flexibility to run different formations, I think probably can, you know, take a lot of the stuff out of your hand. But also, because the squads are small, you'll only have a couple of formations or maybe 3 formations you can run. So, you know, blame the game if you lose rather than sort of, you know, and I didn't have enough players. If I had a squad of 30, I'd have won everything. But
do you tend to build your tactics around players, or do you bring in players for certain tactics? I asked that because I was having this problem with this guy. I was about
to answer confidently that I knew the answer, and now I'll have to think about it. Sorry, go on.
Well, when I was doing that video about my boy Engelbert Engelhart, who was a cam, then I was like, all right, I'm going to use him in my teams this year. And so I was pretty much trying to figure out like what the optimal, you know, cam formations are and building around that. What is the best way that I can do to get him to maximize his quality? And then he progressed enough where I was like, having a 68 rated player in Spark probably doesn't make the most sense. And now I'm like, but if I'm building around a cam, I had no other cams. Or no, my next one was 54 rated. And I was like, well, I'm not going to build around that kind of guy. But then obviously I was like putting myself in a position where only a certain number of formations would work because I was building around one player, and then I loaned him out. Like eventually I was like, he's not going to work. Obviously I could have kept him in Spark, but I felt like because he progressed so well last year in Ice, I was like, maybe he's the guy. Maybe he'll be 99. And now I'm kind of like, all right, which way should I go? Is it players and then tactics, or is it tactics and then players?
I think at the start I mean, for you could either, because you've only got currently 5 guys are registered with Empire FC. You know, you're in a position at the moment where you can sort of make the call. I don't think looking at any of those players, any of the ones you've got registered right now, they're players to build your squad around. The central midfield is quite good, you know, and again, it depends on what league you put in. But for me right now, I know the formations I want to try and play. So when I buy players, I know whether that, you know, I know the stats I want to fit in. Like for all of my central midfielders, I want like, you know, decent, a minimum of 70 defensive. You know, this is for bronze, but I do try and look at the specific stats now when I'm trying to build a formation. But I already have formations in mind. You're, I guess, in sort of the favorable and I guess unfavorable position of having to decide that sort of, you know, and you haven't got long.
No, I don't. What kind of helped you determine what formations you wanted to use?
I'm trying to think back at the start. I think it was the guys I packed at the start.
Yeah.
I think I packed a guy that was 64 at the time, maybe 63 rated as a right mid, but was 73 rated as a right winger. And you can only find that information out by going on to, you know, either MFL assistant or MFL player info.
Yep.
And, you know, going into that sometimes it's quite a shock. Like finding that, I thought, oh, well, he's good as a right mid, but I don't know whether I'm going to use him. And then someone looked on there for me because I didn't even know the site existed. This is like within the first few days, and they're like, oh no, he's 73 or whatever as a right winger. I was like, and he was 16 years old as well. I was like, oh, he's my guy. But he's not progressed, and he's been in the optimal for 2 seasons. He's not really progressed more than like one or 2 points.
Huh.
He was my Messi at the start. If you ever listen to like the early MFL rambles, like Vito Coppola, he gets brought up all of the time, and then it became another player because I packed someone else, and and he was the guy I spoke about all the time. But yeah, I think for you, you know, see what you get in the packs. I'm sure you're going to record a video probably straight after you've recorded this one.
Yeah.
And you'll be opening the packs and see what you get. I'll be really interested to see what you get, and I think that will give you then a better idea about like the decisions you make. Like maybe you get a 65 rated player as a cam, or you know, another one, and you think, okay, maybe I can keep him because then it will be 65 to 63, and you know, just for a season, and he can be the guy I build the team around. But yeah, I think at the moment it's probably too early to decide a tactic. Just sort of open the packs and then sort of go from there, and then you're probably going to have to look for loans, make a decision with whether you're going to take up the offer of trust the process, and go from there. But like in previous seasons, I would have said like there's a certain formation which is OP. Last season it was 3-5-2-B, and you saw loads of people playing it. This season it doesn't seem to be quite as successful, and you definitely, even if you're playing it, you're likely to concede a lot of goals. So a lot of people don't like that because it could be sort of 5-4, or you might get beaten 4-0. So it's so difficult trying to sort of, you know, decide on different formations. I could see Jimbo in there going upper 3-5-2-B. You know, that last season, that was, you know, the formation that you saw loads of managers playing. I don't know from the early testing whether that's quite as strong this season. Although that said, I've gone down a route of buying players to build it, so I have more flexibility within most of my teams. So
it did seem like the at least the 2 striker setup was pretty popular, regardless of what's behind them. So
I think, did you play 4-2-3-1 in the cup, or was it Pranksy? It might have been both of you. I'm not sure. I honestly can't remember, but I know
I haven't had a competitive match in so long.
Yeah, I know Hoodwink's been testing that a lot for his Iron team, and I'm in the same league as Hoodwink this season in one of the teams as well.
That's fun.
That's one of the fun things as well. Like, I mean, you haven't gone through that yet, but when you get drawn with someone you know, and it's like all those derby matches, they're so competitive, and you're like watching, it's like, I don't care if I win the league, I just have to beat them. It's like next season, sorry, Jimbo, but I don't care if I win the league, I have to beat you.
I have this same feeling that where was that Simo comment here? I haven't played a competitive game yet, although I have played competitive games, at least in the Redemption Cup, but find myself on the website every day with seemingly plenty to do, scouting, learning, etc. Like that's all. I feel like because I played Sorare for so long, the things that used to take me a while don't take as long, so I just kind of keep going. And because MFL is so new to me, it's like, man, you could just spend all day on here just trying things out, looking at the market, doing training matches, trying to figure out what formations to do. There's just, it's a ton.
Well, the other day, rollover, like historically, has ended sort of early afternoon. So I sort of planned my day on Tuesday around it ending early afternoon. And it got to like 11 and it was like, we're finished. I was like, oh, wow, I'll go and sit at my computer for like a few minutes, then I'll have some lunch. And I hadn't any breakfast either. Didn't get up from my computer until 7:30 p.m. Only realised when I went to do my washing up, I hadn't got any washing up. And I was like, oh, my God, I haven't eaten all day. I've literally been sitting here watching Pranksies, doing my teams. Then the packs opened. Then everything went crazy. And I'm like, oh, my God. So,
the fasting plan that we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
How often are you acquiring players these days? And how do you do it?
Pack drop. I mean, I guess when you've got I guess lots of managers that will find this that have got now 3 teams or even 2 teams, and one's in a higher division. What you'll do is you'll buy players for the higher division, and then another player will boot out the bottom, and that then will drop down to the next team, and then you might have one left over, and then I probably should sell the one that's left over, but then if it's a young enough guy, then I think, well, sorry, I'll just loan him out, and that then sort of increases that way. So I tend to sort of buy guys at the top. Like last night, I bought a guy off Parma. He was a little bit old, but I desperately needed a right back, and I bought an 84 rated right back who's had no progression so far, praying that he doesn't get that sort of little icon he's retiring next season or the season after. But I've been lucky so far, sort of touch wood. But yeah, I don't buy guys too much, but it is getting to the point now where I need to buy the guys to sort of improve it. Like the chances of picking I bought a rare pack last night, hoping, praying that I'd get like a mid-80s guy, and it didn't happen. I just got another left winger, and I've already got millions of those. I've got quite a few of those rares already out and loan this season, so it just wasn't a card I needed really. But
yeah.
So I think buying is probably better now. That doesn't stop me doing packs, because one of these days, one of the Ramble crew is gonna pull a legendary.
I think the pack opening is it's a ton of fun, and we all knew this, and yet we'll just keep going.
It's funny. So rare's common game. Sorry, so it's common game.
Yeah.
It's got the packs, hasn't it? So you have that sort of every morning. I rip open the pack on there. It doesn't have quite the excitement because I know they're just common cards. But sorry,
I haven't even done that yet. And I'm not sure I will. Simon said, seen a lot of people on streams look straight at the height of players. Does height matter, and is it factored into performance? As someone who opened like 7 5'4" center backs, they say it doesn't matter much right now, but I guess for goalies it does. The only thing I've heard is that shorter goalies don't make as many diving saves. But other than that, I don't think height matters yet.
I think at the moment that because I remember on the first MFL Ramble, I said height doesn't matter. And literally I finished recording, editing, got the show out, and the first person that replied, I think was it Lucas? It was one of the team anyway, and they said, sorry, height does matter. Only a little bit right now.
Yeah.
But it does matter. And in my mind, I thought marginal gains. So, it may not matter a lot, but it matters a little bit. And that little bit is enough for me to improve my team. So I do tend to look for high guys. And I think that weirdly now, I just tend to look for high guys in every single position. It's completely unneeded. But in my mind, they may change that. I've seen like little bits. They've been talking about height a bit more, and they may make it more of an impact. But whatever they do, I think they have to do that slowly because, people have got players.
There are too many tiny players on the platform.
Yeah. If you go and buy keepers, you'll look at the prices of keepers, and you can spot the short ones immediately. Like you put any parameter in the ones, it'll be like, this guy's 200, this guy's 50 quid, but they're the same overall. I know what the difference is. And you look in, he's like 5'4".
Yeah, I was gonna say,
one arm and stuff.
Shout out to the 5'4" goalies there. Yaks, what's up? No raffle. Jimbo will set you up though. Don't worry about it. Yeah, see, there you go. You win. The 5'2" keeper agrees that height doesn't matter. Oh, Nep was up. Did the Ramble come out already with Nep?
Yeah, it came out yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday? What is today? Thursday?
No, I bought a nice team. Thank you. You persuaded me.
See? What was I going to say about the height? Oh, we were saying like marginal gains. Marginal gain, like if it matters this much for one player, we play 11 players. So just like keep going. It's got to matter at some point, right?
Yeah. I don't know whether it makes a massive difference right now.
I agree.
So, yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, yeah. So what's like the first thing you tell people when they're like, I want to get into MFL, like what's it like? Because I imagine you get a lot of it happens with Sorare too, like a lot of people who are either new users or thinking about joining. Like I feel like you have a lot of access to these people, or they have access to you. And so what do you tell them about MFL if they're thinking about joining?
Generally, the first thing I say is don't join for money. It's not an ROI game. Yes, you can make money at it. There are ways you can make money. You can buy players, trade players, just loan players out. There are ways to do it, but don't join for money. Join for fun. And generally, the amount of people that have then come back to me like a month later say, "Yeah, I really enjoy this game. Bought a second team. Thanks for like telling me." And it's interesting, like a couple of people, weirdly, one of the guys that actually got me into Sorare originally joined MFL, I think last season, during the Redemption Cup. Or no, actually, sorry, before the start of last season. And he DM'd me the other day and just said, "Look, you know, listening to your like enthusiasm on the MFL Ramble actually like triggered me to sign up, and he's really enjoyed it ever since." And I think the game just makes it easy to be excited. You know, like, you know, I've noticed it on your streams right from the start, like your enthusiasm for it. Like, you know, you don't watch football matches. I'm sure you've never played a Football Manager game in your life. Like, but you can tell the enthusiasm you have when you're doing it, like the decision process you're having when you're trying to build your squad. Like, you know, should I build around this player? Should I loan this player out? And, you know, it's just easy to get immersed within the community. And I think that generally the community is just full of good people as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the first pod I listened to, and well, the only pod at the time, was Jimbo and Calva are just like, you know, perfect people to sort of like be faces of the content, you know, from the early days, because they're just both of them are just so likable in different ways. Like Calva, you know, you watch his streams and you can tell he's a school teacher immediately, like the way he controls the streams, whereas Jimbo's a lot more sort of easygoing and casual, but they're both, you know, a lot of fun. And Calva's like videos are really sort of clear, and you know, his sort of instructional videos. And I just think that, you know, having those two guys there really sort of helped early days for me. And, you know, like the pack drop streams were legendary like 2 or 3 seasons ago. Now they're just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like crazy. Like the amount of people, I think it was record numbers, Jimbo, last night, wasn't it, for the competition, and, you know, everything is just bigger. And I think that, yeah, I think that's the main thing. When people reached out to me, you know, I just said it's a fun community. Just
for sure.
Just try it. If you don't like it, like the great thing as well is that there's such a buoyant market for secondary teams. So if you don't like it, if you realize after like a month or two, you could sell your team probably for pretty much what you paid for it. If you get a nice location, you could probably sell it for more. You know, and the players you get, then you could just loan the players out and come in once a season to loan your players out and just see how it goes. You know, there's so many different ways, but generally I haven't met anybody that started the game and hasn't enjoyed it. I know 1 or 2 people that have left, and, you know, that's not really because they didn't enjoy it. It's just because they wanted to put their money into something else. But the majority of people, like 99% of people, start the game, love the game, and it goes from there.
I think what makes the community kind of fun is that because it's a community of people having fun, that it just emanates from that, and that you get to a point where, you know, there aren't people who are jaded or, you know, frustrated with the product. And I'm sure there are frustrations that will pop up at some point, because it would be incredible if it didn't. But just that was the thing that got me kind of right away, was just like how overwhelmingly positive everyone was. And it was kind of like, I wonder why that's the case. And then the more you play, you realize like, oh, this is really fun. And talking about it with other people who are having fun just increases it that much more. And so, yeah, I think that's really great. And for anybody who's watching this, it would shock me if anybody's watching this that doesn't already listen or watch the Wender cast, but go do that wherever they want. Twitch, I think, is where they want most people, but Twitch or YouTube. I listen to it on Spotify usually. So definitely the Wender cast, highly recommend. Obviously the MFL Ramble. Do you guys have a separate feed for that, or is it all under the Sorare Ramble?
All under the Sorare Ramble at the moment. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do yet. At the moment, like the MFL Ramble gets more listeners. You know, we've got more people in the Ramble Discord now for MFL, purely for MFL. We've got more people listening to the MFL Ramble than any of the other Rambles we do. I think that just shows how much it's grown. But yeah, maybe we'll be on YouTube one day when I get my arse in gear. But that's been like a meme from about 1.5 years now.
Yeah. Well, the meme is great, at least from the Sora Ramble, because you have Haber, who is literally a YouTuber, and then the show is not on YouTube. It almost feels like it's spite at this point that you won't put it on YouTube because of Haber. But
I'm starting to think we're a bit of a dying breed, though, Andrew. Like, you know, I think you as well love going out for a walk and putting a podcast on. You know, whether that's MFL Sorare or just like another podcast.
Yep.
I just love walking around, listening to a podcast. But these days, unless you're putting it on YouTube, it just feels like people, don't sort of like, some people just like won't. I can't listen to a podcast because I can't sort of differentiate who the people are. It's like, listen to a couple of them and you'll realize quite distinctive voices. It's not the same. Like, if you listen to the MFL ramble and there's Hoodwink and me, it's pretty obvious which one Hoodwink is. But yeah, so I think we're a bit of a dying breed. I think a lot more people prefer like YouTube or Twitch or whatever these days and just consume their content, visually rather than just having to sit and listen to it. But
yeah, what's funny is that like Spotify, when I upload to the different feeds, and there's an MFL with Laird podcast on Spotify. I think it's on Apple now, but like that's a video one. You can do video on Spotify, and it does feel like I've had more people tell me that they'll put the YouTube video on their phone, like in their pocket when they walk, instead of listening on Spotify or Apple or wherever. And I'm like, all right, like that. I don't really care where you listen as long as you guys listen. And so,
but unless you pay for the subscription, then you have to have the screen on, don't you? Because I've tried that in the past.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, you have to turn the screen off a little bit. You can do it if you pay for the subscription, I think, can't you? I don't know, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Looking for food said no podcast with Laird, no cardio. No, I do some low intensity cardio. That's my walking. That's the cardio. Yeah, so I don't know. YouTube Premium is a lifesaver. There you go.
Yeah, no, I thought there was an option to do it, but the last thing I need is another premium service. But
yeah. No, I didn't.
But if you do need one, subscribe to Laird's Patreon.
There we go. Patreon.com/Andrew M. Laird. Thank you, David. That was quite. You see, you're a pro, content pro. I'm still struggling with those calls to action. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
Not really. I'm dying to see your pack, so I'm sort of tempted to say let's just end now. So then you can go and open your packs. Then you can do your video and you can post it, and then I can see what packs you got. Although I could just go cheat and go and look in your account because as soon as you open them, it'll appear there. Oh, I don't know what to do now.
It's a good point. I wasn't going to live stream it, but maybe I should.
I don't know whether to say this on here. I'll say it anyway. We've got like a Ramble Cup that we've opened that is free to enter. I don't know where to post the link. I don't want to say you have to join the Ramble Discord. Maybe I'll send it to Andrew and he can post it in the MFL with the Laird Discord as well. So if anybody's in there, that they can join it free of charge as well. So if you're subscribing to Patreon, then you get a free entry into that as well. But yeah, we'll do that. Do it that way. That's easier. Yeah. I think there's like 126 places or something like that.
Wow.
So I don't know how many of them fill up because there is a hard cap. So it needs to be sort of, smaller teams.
Yeah.
Can enter, but...
Well, my other problem is that because I don't know what I'm doing with my teams yet, I can't enter anything because I don't have registered teams yet.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's saying that I should do it on a stream. So maybe I'll do it in like an hour from now. For anybody who's not listening or who's not here live, you have no idea what an hour from now means. But yeah, I'll do it in an hour. So what time is it now? It's 10 a.m. my time here. So that means it's what, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Let Andrew get his coffee and then he can do them.
Yeah. Let me get some more coffee. 4 o'clock BST, 4 p.m. And 5 o'clock in Central Europe. Let's do it. As soon as I'm done here, I'll post it. And I'll open some packs on stream. So everybody go do whatever you need to do for an hour. I'm sure a lot of you are at work. So, do a little work for the next 45 minutes, come back and we'll open some packs. Creator luck with pack pulls only works when streaming. It's science. All right. Well, let's test the science. And
now I know what I need to do. Then I have to get on YouTube.
Now you have to get on YouTube. That's right. That's it. All right. Well, David, thank you so much for coming on. Surely this won't be this is the first of many, I'm sure. Thank you to everybody for joining us as well. If you have not subscribed to the channel, if you could please do so, MFL with Laird. And that's where you will find the link to the pack opening, which is going to happen in 54 minutes from now. For those of you who are live, it already happened for those of you who are listening back. And then, just go watch that video too. But anyway, thank you to everybody for coming. I'll see you shortly. And remember to go outside.